Hi guys, welcome to your Friday video. Today I thought that we would be talking about how to find your thing. Following your bliss, turning your, interests into your favorite side hustle or spirit-based business. So let's talk about where your thing comes from. There are three places that we generally get these from my experience in talking with others and my own. And those are callings, quests, and service work. A calling is a deep desire to do something. And that can feel divinely inspired. You wake up one day and you go, you know what I think I'm going to do? And then you try. That's sort of what's going on with the Crystal Healing Well. Quests are some kind of an adventure or vacation, something like that you take, and you find some untapped resource, either within yourself or without. You are exposed to something brand spanking new that you never knew existed, and this fires you up. Sadly, it's not as cool as D&D quests usually. You're probably not going to run into a dragon. Just saying. But if you do, let me know, because then we need to plan a vacation together. And then there's doing service work. And that's where you're doing something in your community that evolves into something sustainable and long-lasting. Also part of the Crystal Healing Well. It was a calling first and then evolved into Wellness Wednesdays, which is a service. The service seemed to get a lot of response, so here we are. I'm enjoying it. I hope you are. So now, those are great, but what is your thing based on? What do you need to do or know to find your thing? Well, talents, gifts, and skills are the three things we rely on in anything we're trying to do. So a talent is usually developed from an inborn aptitude for something. So you have good hearing. Maybe you're pitch perfect. So music, you have an aptitude for. Maybe you're more logic based and math is your gig. That really gets you going. Again, you have an aptitude, which can lead into skill, but some people it's a natural talent. So singing, there are some educational things that fall into talent. A skill would be reading. A talent would be able to go through the reading and pull out symbolism that actually means something, if that helps. You can't tell that part of my major was English Lit, I know. Gifts are an innate ability, and these are generally inborn, and they just are. So that's either genetic or God-given, depending on your belief system. And we have no judgments here about that. So if you feel like commenting and you happen to be an atheist who just finds this whole thing fascinating, that's cool too. So these are things that you're born with that get better as you use them, of course, but you can do it out of the gate. And this would be healing, divination, art. Maybe you were drawing faces with all the parts at 2, which kind of makes you a genius. So yes, those are innate abilities. Any of the ESP psychic related stuff also would be a gift. Some people are able to then use skills to expand on that. And skills are usually developed based on interests. I do not have a natural inborn talent or gift that I've worked on to do computer stuff. And by that I mean like the soldering and building the little robots and things. That is a skill set that I've developed based on interest because I think it's really fascinating. That said, I will not be working on artificial intelligence. They will only be doing what I say. Because hashtag robot army. You have all seen it. So where do you start? Well, there are online audits that you can take that are very much the internet version of your high school counselor that can help you figure out, based on your current skill sets, your talents and gifts, they can figure out what you're best in alignment with for career and various jobs, and be that college type stuff or hands-on or weird service stuff that's neither, and if you take one of those, don't be sad if it's not like you should be a PhD in, or you should do this or that. That's great and big ticket, because in the end, someone has to make the pickles. Someone has to flip the burgers. Someone has to do all those things that we have jobs to do and that we've created industry around. So if it says that, don't be sad. Just decide what skills you're going to build, what gifts you're going to stop denying and start using, or what talents you're going to decide to practice. Nothing like that is ever set in stone. It's where you are now. It's kind of like divination. The future is not set in stone. I can lay out cards and tell you what I'm feeling, what I'm seeing is the most likely outcome if you stay on exactly the path you're on now. If you make some decisions to change that, it changes. And so, you've altered the future, which is kind of what divination is all about. Embrace it or change it. And it's the same with this. You can embrace what you have and work with that, or you can grow it and change it and make it something bigger. And that's all up to you. You can also look at what makes you happiest. And then get creative about how you can put together your talent, skills, gifts to fit those puzzle pieces together to make that doable for you. So you are really good at drawing, but you've not ever done any commission work. You are actually also fairly decently skill-setted because you work with computers or the internet, and let's say you have a real gift for humor. Seems to me that could be used to do all kinds of fun stuff with some kind of advertising, or creating a really funny tarot deck, or doing some website thing that way. So you just kind of fit those pieces together. Be creative. Think outside the box. The only reason right now that we have, say, cars is because somebody got the idea that we needed something that would go faster than horses. Essentially. So then automation came along because of that and that and that. And we have so many jobs that exist right now because somebody had an idea. So maybe you're the person who's going to come up with that new thing that in 100 years will be employing thousands and thousands of people in 14 different companies. But you don't know unless you try. So put your pieces together. Now, I am not saying that we have people in this group who may not always trust in their abilities or their guts or whatever. or that they second guess themselves, or that they get anxious. I know I would never. Any of those, all of them. So, if you're having doubts about that yourself, you can actually look at what people ask you most often to help them with. You may not even realize that you have something of value because you've never been paid for it. You're just good at it, and people ask you to help them all the time. Print up business cards, man. Do the thing. And maybe if you enjoy it, you can work it into the thing. And if it's not your favorite, but you're really good at it, maybe you can use that as a side hustle to get you to your thing. Now, you also, I'm going to get a little woo. You also want to pay attention to the cues you are getting from the universe. Are you seeing ads that you haven't really talked about the thing, but they pop up and you're like, ooh, that's neat. I wonder. And if that's happening over and over and over again on the same topic, you might want to look like that or look at that. Does a particular topic keep coming up in podcasts and articles you're reading, kind of randomly? You're not seeking them out, but somewhere buried in the middle of your favorite podcast is, oh yeah, and I saw this really great thing this other day, or I got a book sent to me to review that was about blah, blah, blah. And you go, ooh, that could be interesting. Well, and if that happens over and over again, that could be a conversation with the universe. And possibly not just for you, but for somebody. Because oftentimes, there are only so many people that get a given calling, if you believe in the God-given sort of thing. The divinely inspired thing. Only so many people will be sent that. And either we're ready for it or we aren't. It's a stand your ground kind of thing. So if you keep seeing it, do something with it. Because if you don't, somebody else will. And once they run out of people who are not interested in making this thing happen, they'll stop sending it. We're not ready. So be ready. You have plenty of support here. So, if you can remember your dreams, oftentimes we get information in those. And you can either look at that as information coming from outside, or as your subconscious having a conversation with your consciousness to try to get you to see something, realize something, recognize something. Either way, pay attention to those. You may have a theme coming up over and over again, deep in the back of your mind, or your guides may be trying to get to you through your dreams to tell you, there's this thing you should be doing, go do it. So keep a journal and pay attention. Do divination. If you already do it for yourself, do a specific reading about this. If you have a favored reader and you don't read for yourself, get in touch with them. I am also a reader. I will give you a reading for $30, flat out, however long it takes. I know it says $30, 30 minutes, but my schedule is not back-to-back-to-back readings. So if it goes longer, it goes longer. Hit me up, and I will help you with that. Also, listen to your gut and your daydreams. If you are sitting in front of a computer screen for 6 to 8 hours a day, and while you're waiting for queries to come back or for testing to fail or not, and you keep daydreaming over and over and over again about vending at festivals or about running a sacred healing lodge in the woods or whatever, making jewelry to sell on Etsy, running a spirit-based healing business out of your dining room, then you might want to look at that. And some of those daydreams are inspired too. Don't think that they're not. Those can be from outside of you. It's a conversation you're having with yourself, your higher self, your subconscious, and possibly divinities outside. Also, if you're working with your crystals and you have them on you, they communicate too, believe it or not. So pay attention to those. You can meditate. And you can use crystals to help you with that. Duh. You can ask trusted friends and family members. You can ask for divine help and inspiration. I know several of you go to regular group things where you leave offerings or sacrifices. There is no reason why you could not leave an offering with this in mind. And it doesn't have to be go big or go home. Once you have an idea, try things on in like a small way. You know, don't buy the gross of pudding cups at Sam's Club unless you've bought the little 4-pack at Kroger's, because you need to know that you like it. So you try it on in a small way for a couple of months. Either you will love it and everybody else will love it, or not in some way. And if you really love it and other people don't love it, you can tweak it and find out what works to draw people. I'm working on that right now. It's something that everybody has to do from time to time. If everybody else likes it and you hate it, as it turns out, then you're probably going to have to tweak it, change it up, continue to do it while you're working on your side gigs so that when you bust over, you have a following already that will come along for the ride. And you know, I talk about this as spirit-based business, sort of, money-making stuff, but it doesn't have to be. It can be free community service stuff. It can be writing a book. And I have stuff about that, too. Now, your Crystal Companions booklet does have several stones that can help you with this in various ways. All of the communication stones. You can use that for inner or outer. You can use anything with communication for dream work, for communication within yourself, outside yourself, all of that. So look through there, see what you have, see what you work with if you need a little support. Also with shapes and things. If you happen to have some of these, but they're not pocket rocks, because they're not all going to be. If you work with crystal balls or crystal eggs, you can use those to scry, to sort of help sort through your ideas. And if you don't get what scrying is, it's sort of gazing into it in a meditative state, and it sort of reflects back inner things. And if you're very, very lucky, it can show you real possibilities that you're not seeing, but you'll see in the crystal during a scrying session. If you work with crystal skulls, and I do, they can be really helpful because they tend to give us a really honest reflection of ourselves. That's what their big talent is, really seeing us deeply and throwing that back at us in a very honest and often gentle or humorous fashion. Now, just like people, there can be some that are a little curt, but not usually. Crystals are very loving things and very gentle things, and crystal skulls are no different. There are several books on this. I'll be doing a video on this eventually. I'm doing more research right now, so there's that. And books. There is a new book out that Robert Scott, our very own Robert Scott, edited. And I'm going to ask him to put the sales link in the comments here because I'm a bad witch. But he edited. I actually have a piece on augury in it. It's $10.99. It's available on Amazon. I believe it's the Diviner's Handbook. It's not so much a how-to as talking to people who do divination on how they found it, their spiritual connection to it. There's art, there's personal journeys, there's poetry. It's actually a really cool book. So I encourage you to go look at it, give it a thumbs up, whatever you can do. Yes, but that was that. So that's what's been going on here and what's been on my mind, because as I'm flipping cards, I'm noticing that there's a lot of go do the thing cards. So somebody needs to go do the thing. So I'm going to give you the look, because you know who you are. Do the thing. All right, guys. That's it. Have a great weekend. For those of you interested in Marion at the fairgrounds, this weekend is an international gem and jewelry show. It's going to have likely a lot of beads and a lot of finished pieces. Beads to string and finished pieces. But there tends to be one or two tables of actual stone dealers that travel with them. We found some amazing things there for not always New Age prices. Also next weekend, the 7th and 8th, the Rockin' USA thing up on Morris Road at, I think it's an art center. I will try to get you a link and throw it in the comments on this. So Robert's going to link the book. I'm going to go link the rock show for next weekend. And I hope to see you at one or the other or both. But at any rate, have a good weekend. Have a good week. And I will see you again next Friday. Thanks.